Thank you, Chair. I'll direct my questions to Mr. Agnew. Mr. Agnew, from 2021 to 2024, you guys took in over 50,000 international students. That's a lot. You opened a campus a few years ago, and then you had to shutter a campus, and you attributed that to the loss of international student permits. Did the federal government give you the impression that the levels of permits that you were receiving would go on indefinitely?
No, I don't think they gave us the impression it would go on indefinitely. What we were responding to when we dedicated one of our campuses to international students was, frankly, the demand, the very high demand, as you note, for international education.
Just sorry, I don't have a lot of time. I'm sure there's demand, but there's a permitting process from the federal government, and you must have known that you were dependent on that. So why did you persist? You must have assumed that it was, or been under the assumption that these numbers would carry on forever, right?
Nothing lasts forever.
Okay. It just seems like
it was a campus that was available to us, and
okay.
So because the demand, we decided to use that, put our capital to good use.
Thank you. It just seems like a pretty poor business choice to me. Did the federal government ever ask you to demonstrate that there was adequate housing for the numbers of students that you brought in the region? Just yes or no?
No.
Okay. Did the federal government ever ask you to demonstrate that there were adequate numbers of jobs in the region for those 50,000 people? Just a yes or a no?
No.
Okay. Did you ever raise any alarm bells with the federal government that, you know, there might be kids sleeping under a bridge or food bank usage? Did you ever have that conversation with the federal government on the student permitting numbers you were having?
Well, as far as I know, we did not have any students sleeping under bridges, so that wasn't. And I mean, as far as I know,
as far as you know,
we have a housing office that works very closely with our students. Most of our students stay off campus, not on campus.
So you talked about the asylum claim rates and the fact that you didn't know about this. I'm assuming you didn't talk to the federal government about this. They weren't talking to you. Just to reemphasize, that was the case.
Well, prior to it appearing in the media, that's exactly right.
Okay.
But once it appeared in the media, we started talking.
There's a lot of financial liability associated with international students who are making false asylum claims or overstaying their visas. Do you think institutions like yours should bear some responsibility or like financial liability for when that happens?
I would just remind you that we don't actually approve the permits. We assess our incoming students on the basis of their academic records.
Profit off
and
them,
their
right?
Transcripts.
You sure profit off them, though, right?
No, I don't use the word profit because we're a public institution.
So I would. I see that
any surplus that we earn goes back into our institution for the good of our students. That's what happens to our surplus.
Okay, so that's interesting that you raised that because I noted that you're number 202 on the Ontario Sunshine List. You make over $450,000 a year. You're telling me that you never talked to the federal government about adequate housing for students in your area. You never talked to them about potential asylum claims, which there's a big cost to taxpayers, and you never talked to them about youth unemployment rates. Do you think that you deserve your salary?
We did talk about the asylum claims with IRCC once we were made aware of the problem through the media that we had a problem. And as I said in my remarks, I wanted to sit down very much with the federal government to understand why this is happening. I mean, I've got some good news and bad news. The good news is that rate of asylum claims has plummeted in this year. The bad news is I have no idea why it went down, just like I had no idea why it went up.
Maybe it's because, I don't know, maybe somebody on your board would have told you if you brought less people in, they might make less asylum claims. Do you think that might be an obvious factor?
That is, the numbers don't track just like you would say, actually. That's not exactly the way the numbers track.
But how would you know?
Well, because now, historically, the numbers are out.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean,
okay, I'm going to go on another topic here. Earlier in testimony, one of my Liberal colleagues said that he was concerned about, quote, corrosive rhetoric and foreign students being scapegoated for things like the youth jobs crisis and high rental costs. I agree. I don't think that foreign students should bear the brunt of that. Who deserves the blame, you or the federal government?
When I look around my campus and I reflect back on the years I've spent at Seneca, International students have been disproportionately leaders of our student government. They've been representatives on our board of governors. They've contributed immensely. So no, I agree with you. I don't think we should be scapegoating international students either. But as I said before,
I need to have the Meg back now. Do you think you bear any responsibility? You brought in 50,000 students. There were asylum claims, food bank overusage, high rental rates. Do you bear any responsibility for that decision?
I'm a single institution. Our growth in the international students was, I believe, responsible and responsive to the times. As I say, any of the surpluses that we generated during that time were invested back into
I'll close with this.
students.
Every person on this panel today has said that they need more global talent to make Canada competitive. What about Canadian kids? What are you doing to make Canadian kids better? I've not heard a single academic institutions today talk about how they are skilling kids in a youth jobs crisis. What are you doing about that?
We are busting our butt to recruit Canadian kids. We've got great programs. We are trying as much as possible to direct them towards the STEM programs that the government says we need, and that I agree that we do need. So we're doing a lot to try to upskill, and reskill our Canadian kids and our Canadian workforce.
Do better.
Not just the kids. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agnew. Thank you, Ms. Rempel-Gardner.